So I just did a couple things to this thing that I don't think too many people should do. Took the tires off, but that's not why I did it. I cut the two rear brakes because I don't have calipers. Figured out these two are the two rears. Tried putting fluid into it because there was no fluid. Gave her a couple pumps, and the front driver's side caliper line was leaking. So I found that one, cut that one off, and pinched that. So we do have brakes now. So we only have brakes to this one tire. No, guys, I'm not going to really recommend that you do that, but hey, that's what I just did. So I'm letting you guys know what I do. So now we only got brakes to one tire. The car's running. I got brakes. I bled them, so we do have brakes. Now, I don't like this. Do you guys see what I'm looking at here? I see a really long, shitty designed steering spindle. They're steel, but they are shittily designed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this right here in some seat belts. We're gonna leave it a little loose, because when you turn, it does get farther away. So I still wanna leave enough space that we can turn. Maybe I'll turn as far as I want, and I'll seatbelt that tight. And then when we turn the other way, it'll be a little bit loose, but just in case we break it, it doesn't flop over. And then I want to get some really narrow, tall tires on it. Now my problem is that I can't really fit too many tires on it, so I want really narrow and tall tires. So these ones here is the spare from this car, and I don't have any other tires this size. So I might have to go talk to a couple buddies and see if I can find an 18-inch, very large spare tire. Maybe one of my other buddies have a 300. We'll have to see what I can find. And then we're gonna cut the exhaust off this. Maybe not right now, because I still want to drive around my property. This is actually running my rules, Mum's Motorsports rules. So I'm gonna kind of push them a little bit. I do not want to take out the windshield. I'm gonna leave the windshield. I'm gonna run the fuel lines through the wiper cowl, through the wiper cowl right here where the heater box is. Take out the airbags, leave the windshield, take the back window out. I'm gonna weld the motor down because I know these motor mounts are shit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna weld it down or if I'm gonna bolt it down or ratchet strap it, I don't know. But this motor has to stay intact. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of research on the internet to still find out about that U-joint, rag joint thing on this thing. So let's get some seat belts and start tying up this front suspension. I'm just charging the battery right now is what I'm doing, and then we will relocate the battery and maybe drop the gas tank out of it. I do want to weld the rear diff, but I think I'm going to wait until it's in there on the hoist. So yeah. So it doesn't look super scientific, and I'm pretty sure this would pass for a stock class, but we have the steering, the spindles loosely wrapped. So I can still get full turn out of this, but if that snaps, hopefully it will stop it from kind of flopping the tire right over. Now it's not going to stop any of these aluminum lower A-arms from breaking, but hopefully it will stop that. So I did notice that this thing has a massive power steering leak right out of the rack. This car is a hunk of junk. Like, realistically, there is no reason why I should build this car, except for you guys here on YouTube. And there's been like 3 times now where I've wanted to stop building it and just go like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. But you know what? Here I am doing it, so not much I can do. What I find funny is the spark plug wires. So the coil pack that feeds this one is this coil pack. The coil pack that is right there feeds this one. This coil pack feeds that one over there. So all the wires, look at that caterpillar. All the wires actually cross over the intake repeatedly. Like, why would they engineer that like that? Why wouldn't they just have the wire come off and go in, or something stupid? Dodge likes to do everything backwards. I did locate the fuel line. It looks like it's a no return fuel system, and it looks like the pressure goes right here. So I'm just going to disconnect that, hook up my fuel line, and then run it through there. So we do have to take out some of the interior and smash this piece out through here so I can run my fuel line, but that's going to be easy. So what we're going to go do is remove the blower motor and start getting ready to run the fuel line in the fuel tank for this. So we have a Camry tank just sitting there. It's actually wired in, but it's just sitting there. We used all these really nice AN fittings that we had. It looks like we got a little bit of a leak, but it's tied into the original fuel tie-in with actually the quick connects and everything like that. It's ran right through there. The battery cable we didn't adjust, and it's running off a Camry pump. So I don't know if this thing's gonna have the volume to keep this thing with eating that V8, but she still sounds a little snappy. So as far as I'm concerned, we're just gonna disconnect the pump. There we go. So I'm gonna get this thing in the shop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the tires back on. I'm gonna do a little bit of a cleanup. I'm gonna open the shop and I'm gonna back this car in. And then I'm gonna jack it up and I'm gonna maybe try to drop that diff. But I'd like to just make sure that I kind of have some brakes on this thing. So let's get this tire back on. I think I'm going to choose that one. I don't have another spare for it. I wanted to keep the big tires off of it, so when they get flats, it's more rubber that it has to be pushed around. So if I run the donuts and it gets a flat, all the weight of this car is on the front of this engine. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, or should I do the motor? You know what? I think I'm gonna wait a little bit to do the motor mounts, guys. I don't know. Let's take a look at these motor mounts. I know they're garbage. I know they're garbage. We have been working away on this car all day. And what have we got done? Not a whole lot. But we've done some stuff. We have the gas tank ratchet strapped inside of the car. Now, listen, guys. This is not your optimal way of holding a gas tank in, but it works. So I'm not going for optimal show car here. This is a bone stock car, and I'm really not expecting a whole lot out of this car. So that will work. We got the battery ratchet strapped. The wiring, honestly, guys, the wiring inside this car was super, super, super easy. Like, unbelievably easy. I didn't even have to run a power cable. The fuel line, with a couple of pieces I had laying around the garage, I still have to tighten that, actually. So we will probably tighten that very shortly. The fuel line was super simple. I'm running a Camry pump. It seems like it's got a little bit of a delay, but it looks like it's going to work. We got the battery. Everything on this thing was simple, but there seems to be a lot of problems. The rag joint on the drive shaft is going to be an issue. The motor mounts are going to be an issue. The steering is going to be an issue. The size of the brakes on this thing is going to be an issue, guys. So maybe prepare for this stuff. What we're going to do now is I'm going to fix this fuel line. I'm just going to get an adjustable and some wrenches and tighten it up. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to start ratchet strapping this engine. I'm going to maybe get some ratchet straps from my truck. So what everybody's telling me is that it breaks the motor mounts and slides forwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ratchet strap and I'm going to go around the brace to the front of the engine and try to pull the whole engine back and see if that does anything. And maybe, hopefully, it will keep this thing together a little bit better. Hopefully, I'm not sure. But we'll just kind of see what kind of weird ideas I come up with, okay, guys? So you guys hear that I'm building this stuff stock all the time. I don't think you guys really understand how stock I build a lot of these cars. And there's reason for it. One, I don't think this car is going to do very good. I don't think it's going to be the next Toyota Camry. But I still think it's worth building. So I'm going to build it. But I'm not going to waste 2 weeks, 3 weeks of building it. I built this car yesterday and today pretty much. Took me 2.5 hours to strip, maybe 45 minutes to move all the electrical. I still haven't even taken the gas tank out. I don't think I'm going to weld the rear gears. I've ratchet strapped the engine down, but I did break a coil pack, so I'm going to have to go and buy a coil pack. I might weld the rear gears. I still got 2 weeks, so if I get time, maybe I'll order a new U-joint for the rear drive shaft. If not, I'm just gonna put a half a roll of duct tape on it. If it's a $15 part and I can change it out in 20 minutes, then yeah, I might change it. But I don't think this car is going to be a game changer car. Because of the suspension, because of the motor mounts, because of the aluminum trunk and aluminum hood, I don't think this thing is going to be the next W body, the next Camry. But saying that, I still want to build these cars. I still want to have fun. I want to go into a derby. I want to enjoy myself. And I do know some of the issues, so I can kind of prepare for them. So I'm going to go through this car shortly, and I'm going to tell you guys what I've done, what I found, and what, if you guys are actually looking to build these things, what I think needs to be done to them to make them actually pretty competitive. So let's go exploring on this car. So number one thing I'm going to say is going to be an issue is the motor mounts. On the V6s and the V8s, I think the motor mounts are going to be one of the biggest issues. Plastic rad support is another issue. Brake line locations, another issue. Front suspension is like a Honda Accord. It's going to be an issue. The fact that you have to run 18-inch rims to clear your front brakes is going to be an issue. I have 15s on the back, but listen, I had to grind a lot of things to get 15s on the back. The frame is not all that large. All the aluminum control arms front and rear is going to be an issue. Now, how can you get around that? If you drop this entire cradle and you put a cradle out of a different car, like a Crown Vic bolt-in cradle, something like that, maybe this could become an actually half-decent car, but that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. What I think would be really cool, I know it won't fit, would be a Toyota Camry engine or a Lumina engine. A Lumina engine might actually fit inside this. You take a whole Lumina subframe and bolt it up underneath of here, and now you have a front-wheel drive one of these. That might make this thing kind of aggressive. I don't know, but that's not what we're after today. Some things I don't like. Aluminum hood, aluminum trunk. There's a lot of aluminum on this thing. The drive shaft U-joints look extremely weak. The motor mounts look extremely weak. There's a lot of things on this car that is going to give me some issues. I already broke a coil pack trying to ratchet strap this motor so it wouldn't go anywhere. So what I did was I just went around the water pump to the front crossmember bar between the struts just to try to hold this engine in there. I'm not going to change the bumper. I'm not going to loop the rad lines. I'm not going to do anything to this thing, but I'm not even going to take the windshield out, guys. I think this thing's going to be a pile of junk, but we're going to go have fun with it, and it's going to sound amazing because it is a 5.7 liter Hemi. So there's a couple things I don't like about it, but realistically for a beginning guy, fuel line was super easy. I didn't have to even cut any holes. Battery, super easy. Again, I didn't even have to get battery cables. Windows, interior, super easy. Lots of little screws that can put holes in your tires, but as long as you guys pick them up, that's fine. It's a very easy car to build. Airbags, you didn't need any Torx. There was no Torx on this whole car. It was 10 mil for the airbags, 15 mil for the seats, 17 mil for the back seats. Like, everything came out super, super easy. I will say that, but we're going to derby this thing here in the next upcoming weeks. It is 100% bone stock. I haven't done anything. I still have to drain the gasoline out of this thing and try to remove the factory tank. So this was a quick build. I started this car yesterday. Today is today, and it's built. So thanks, guys, for watching. I think it's going to do garbage, but I'm happy to share my experiences building the car and derbying the car with you here. So the brakes aren't that good, but I want to do a little bit of a burnout in this. Now that car knows how to dig some holes. Look at this. This is a very hard packed driveway. It's heavy, and it's got good tires, and it has got the power. Even on 7 cylinders, because that broken coil pack, that thing's got some power. I cannot wait to drive that into somebody going way too fast. Traction control is still kicking in, but nothing I can do about that with this short of build. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you back here later on Zach's Workshop. Maybe I'll go out and buy a new coil pack for it. Well, maybe. Not 100%, but maybe.